James wasn't the type of man that would allow you to just leave him. I've tried before, and each time he found me and beat me. The last time was the worst. I ended up in the hospital for about a week after that. And that's how I met Pastor Brandon. During the visit to the hospital, they were taking me to have x rays done. And while on the elevator, Pastor Brandon began to ask me how I was doing. I felt the shame and a little hesitant to speak because my face was swollen and my lips were busted up. But I'm grateful that he started the conversation. He began to speak into my life and encourage me. At that moment, I needed it because I didn't feel like going on. Once I left the hospital, going to church was one of the very few things James allowed me to do. For some reason, he thought I'd never leave him and that I was only going to church to better cope with the abusive lifestyle. I'm not gonna lie, there's been a few times that the pastor has secretly tried to get me out of town, and it always failed. But after this, I was determined to leave or die trying. I can't take this anymore. And the way things were left with the school, they're going to take my kids if I don't get out of here and get away from James. So we set a plan for a particular day, but at the last minute, I almost chickened out. James is usually home by a certain time or calling to make sure that I'm home and his supper is cooking. But today he's late and he hasn't called. This is making me nervous because I just want everything to be normal. I prepared his favorite meal, lamb chops with asparagus and fresh mashed potatoes. Pastor got some sleeping pills from someone, the good kind too. I didn't trust to just put it in one thing, one item. So everything on his plate was prepared with the medicine and the beer he was drinking too. I punctured a little small hole at the top of the can and used a syringe to drip in the medicine. I made sure the food was seasoned well and didn't have a bitter taste at the end. Our bags were already packed, and Pastor removed them earlier yesterday just to get that part out of the way. I was only taking important items that I couldn't replace. That way, if he had cameras on us, it wouldn't alarm him. The church pitched in and they bought us some clothes and some items for us to start over. They all donated to us. And so I waited until later. After dinner, a little while, I text Pastor the code that we agreed upon for me to send him to let him know that James was asleep. After about 45 minutes, Pastor pulled up and pulled just past the house, far down enough so that James wouldn't see his car if he looked out the window. I gathered the kids and a small duffel bag from the kitchen and headed out the back door. My heartbeat sped up, but I had a feeling of relief because we were so close to the car. But I could hear a noise behind me, so I quickly turned, and there he was, looking like a zombie trying to chase me while high on sleep medication. The kids slowed me down just a little bit. He managed to catch up and get his hands on one of them. I frantically tried to pry his hands off of her while Pastor puts my son in the car, but he drags her back into the house. But this is what I planned for. I made sure that if by any chance this horse-necked joker got up to pursue me, I had a plan for him. And as soon as we entered back into the house, it was on. My daughter knew the plan was for her to take off full force and run to the back of the house and back out the back door and around the house and come to the front to the car. And she did just that. She was able to circle around and meet Pastor in the front yard and get in the car. I tussled with him, making sure to stay in the living room. And when I heard Pastor blow the horn as planned, meaning both kids were safely in the car, I reached for the knife that I had tucked between the cushions. I wanted to shove it between his eyes and take off running. But I remembered that I promised my friend Kim I'm not going to kill him. So I reached back and I grabbed the lamp off the table and broke it across his head and took off running out the back door. I rounded the house, and as I reached the car, I looked back and I didn't see him. I jumped in the car with Pastor, and Pastor pulls off as fast as he can. And I finally start to shed tears. I finally feel relief because now I know I finally get to leave with my babies and start over somewhere safe without James.